So far, we have created or implemented microservices, but we have not implemented any security and anybody can access our endpoints. Today, we shall start our journey to secure microservice and we shall use Auth2 Spring Security. And in this example, I shall use Google Login to secure the microservice endpoint. So for that, there is the Google Auth server. Google Auth server. And any Google users who has Gmail account or using any Google services, they will have their registration in the Google Auth server. So basically, all of the users who are using any of the Google service will register themselves in the Google and they will have a username and password, where they will have a user or user ID and just like say our Gmail username and the password. That's the Google username and password. Now there is a microservice. Say this is our microservice, our retail bank, microservice. Now let's assume that in the retail bank microservice we have written an endpoint to check the balance. So say get balance for a particular customer who has account in our bank. Now we cannot allow anyone to log in and check the account. So what we shall do, we will ensure that any user, first they will authenticate themselves in the Google Auth server, and from there if they have authenticated, they will come to our bank and check their balance if they have the account. So for that purpose, Google Auth server needs to know that their retail bank microservice is a valid application. So we have to register our application also in the Google Auth. So here what we will do, we will register the application, and what Google will return us, Google will return this application. Okay, text box already there. Google will return this a client ID and secret. This client ID and secret we shall keep in our application.properties or YML file. Now whenever somebody somebody from the browser try to access the get balance application endpoint, it will be our application will redirect the user to the Google Auth server and we will get a Google login screen. There user has to validate his username and password, and if Google authorization server validate that he's a real user, Google user, then the call will be redirected to our microservice and we will show the output of the get balance endpoint. So let's do it, and what Google will return, we will capture from the Google that what is the name of the user, and we will show that hey, your balance is this. So this is a dummy endpoint we'll create, but our focus will be how to integrate Google Auth server to secure a microservice application. So without wasting much time, let's start the coding. I shall focus more on practical coding because you will find lots of theoretical document in internet and you can understand what Auth2 is and how it works. So first I shall cover with Google, then I shall show how we can do the same thing with Facebook. After that, we shall do the same thing with Azure Identity Server, and we will deep dive much detail where we'll see how we can secure a method based on different role of the users and all these things, how we can sign in our user, how we can ensure logout and all these details. So in the first video of the series, let's try to secure our microservice with Google Social Media Login or Google Auth server. So let's jump into the coding. So for that, we need to create a project, and let's create a new project out of it. So let's give the name as, say, retail bank only, and here we give obviously our code tech is, artifact is fine, Java 11, next. Here I select Lombok, DevTools, OAuth and Oauth2 client. Okay, let me select these things and create the project. Let it build. So we have created our project. Let me see if I need any other dependencies. I think, yeah, these dependencies are very much fine. So this is fine. Now let's quickly go here and let me delete this time left and all. Delete we don't need. Here I can come and let me create a new package called controller, and in this controller let me write our method. So let me create a name, when controller, and as usual we'll give REST controller and we'll give SLF4J and give it all argument constructor. Okay, fine. Now here we will create, say, public response entity. We'll create a simple REST endpoint string, and here we can say that customer balance, and here what we do, we will do at authentication principle, and Auauth2 user equal to, say, principal. So basically, after Google authenticate that yes, he is a valid user, he has registered in Google, Google will send some a user object or user entity to us, and that we will catch here. Okay, so now let me write few message. Say I just copy this message. So this is the default method, default message, but now we'll check if principal not equal to null. That means the user is validated. Now what we'll do, we'll take string customer name equal to principal dot get attribute, and what will be the attribute? Google will return an attribute called name. In this name attribute we'll get the customer name. So from the principal we take the customer name. Now we just write a statement here. Basically just I copied it. I already keep it in some notepad so that I don't waste much time in writing the code. And obviously return statement is missing, that's fine. Now what we can do, say valence equal to say we what we can do, we assume that we'll get the customer name, and based on the customer name we shall check into our database that if something is there, some customer with this name is there or not, and based on that we'll pick up. But I'm not implementing the database here. You can use it in Spring Data JPA. I'm just creating a static class here, data, and within this I create a new class customer data, and here I just give @configurations. Now let me come here and I just create private map string integer, say customer data equal to stream.off, and what I can create, what is this one, new object. I'm just using few lambda expressions, so just bear with me because and here we can give, say I give Amidatta and say 1000. Okay, and then we give here, sorry, this will not be here, dot collection dot collect and collector dot to map, and within this data what will be string, because we already know it is a string, data 0, then we give data and we'll typecast it because integer and data 1. So I think this is the file. So basically we are creating a map called customer data, and which will help Amidatta and this. I just use a lambda expression to create everything together, but you can do it separately. So first you create a map, then you can give put and set it. Now I just write a public method, public integer get balance customer name, and here we return customer data dot get customer name. So basically if I pass Amidatta here, it will return 1000. Okay, now let me go to my retail bank controller, and what I can do, I need to get this one, private and customer data. Now what we'll do, we'll balance, we'll get customer data dot get customer name, should be customer data dot get balance, and here we'll pass this customer name. Okay, so that's the thing. We get the balance. Now what we can do, here you can see if null equal to balance, if we see null equal to balance, then we can say that I just copy it again, that message, just set a message, else we set the message as something like that hello Amit, say your balance is this, and that's it. Here I just need to return response entity dot status. I just give http status dot okay dot body, and here we will give message. So basically what happened, once Google sent us the user, we will take this user and we shall check in our customer data. We have record for this, we'll get the balance and then we'll display the balance. So instead of, here I am just creating a static data, but you can use your service layer here, call and get the data from the database also. So you can extend it at any level, but I'm not going this one. You can refer my Spring Data JPA video, how to integrate database with Spring Boot microservice and all. So this is the main part of our coding. Now I need to do one thing. I just refactor rename YML. Okay, now let's go here. Obviously I'm giving server.port say 9004, and here I need to add few properties specific to Google. So Spring Spring security, then Auauth2, then client, then the registration, then we are doing it for Google, then Google, after that client ID and client secret. So we need to put this in. So this is basically this part, this client ID and secret. So first I need to register our application in Google Auth server. So let's see how can we register our application. So this completes our coding. Only thing that we need to generate our client ID and client secret, and we need to set it here. So let me go to an Ignito window, and here we need to get console dot developers dot google.com, I believe, and let me log in with one of my email ID that I created for this YouTube purpose. And let me give my password. Okay, I get a notification and let me confirm. Yes, it's me. So I logged in, and here you can see I can create a new project, and here I give retail bank app and no organization. Let me create. If I created, I let it create. It will take some time, I believe, to create the project. Yeah, project is created. Now we go to auth consent screen, and here we need to create editor. So here we created our app and there is nothing in credential yet. We go to auth consent screen and here you see external, because some external user will access our application, and we create app name retail bank app, support email id. I gave my email id and all these things are not needed. I give my email id and I just save and continue. And it will ask for scope. So here we select OpenID. So OpenID will send some, so basically this is what, if I select the OpenID, it will send some personal information on Google. So basically, if you see our applications, it will return me the customer name. Basically the customer name it will return. So for this purpose, we selected the OpenID and that's it. Let's update. Now we go to credentials, and in the credentials we click on create credential and Auth2 client ID. So here we select our application. It's a web application. Client is fine. Authorize redirect. So here I need to add this one. So it is my 9004. What is my port number here? We are giving 9004. So it will be your host name. Your host name, since I am doing it in localhost, I give localhost followed by your port number, then login or to code Google. This part is constant. So here it will be your host name and your port number. So let me create. And it will generate the client ID and client secret. I can download this JSON also. This is confidential, so please preserve it. Anyway, by the time the video will be up, I shall delete this application. So I'm showing it to you to here. I just copy the client ID and let's go here. We put the client ID and then I go and click this one and come here. I put the client secret. Okay, that's it. Now you can click OK. So it is gone, and yeah, that's it. Now if we anytime if you come here, say libraries, credentials, oops, library, let me go back. You just click credentials, click on that web client one, and you can see these credentials here. So that's it. This is what we need to do. Now let's go to our application. We go to our terminal and let me try to build it. MVN. See, I don't want to focus on JUnit, that's why I'm keeping this one, but JUnit is an integral part when you are doing coding. Maybe I shall come up with a separate session for JUnit and Mockito, etc. But I don't want to make things too complicated, and just because of that avoiding JUnit and all and doing one thing at a time. So let me run it. Obviously. Yes, it is started. Now let me take a new Ignito window and give localhost 9004 slash what is our endpoint? Our endpoint not given any endpoint, man. At the rate get mapping, and I need to give it what name I can give, say balance. Okay, I hope spelling is correct. Okay, let it be. Now let me run my application. You no need to build it again because application is building again during this server startup time. So that's it. Let me go to new Ignito window, and now what will happen? Now let me explain. Now some user through the browser, so basically this is our browser, so some user through the browser trying to access our endpoint get balance. Now since our application is registered with Google, we have given that client ID and client secret, and here we have given all the details that I need to Spring Security Auth2. Okay, I think I missed one part, important part of the coding. Sorry, I missed one. I have not configured yet. We need to create a OAuth security project also. Let me quickly do it. Security. Basically, I need to tell that my endpoint is secured, and I need to create here, say, app security. And sorry man, I missed it. I should have to do it this one. Configuration, and here we need to create a thing. So public security filter chain, and basically we'll give filter chain and HTTP security. Just give HTTP and give HTTP security throws exceptions, and this will be of type @ this will be a bin. Oops, this will be a bin. Now here what we'll do, we'll tell that HTTP security dot what is authorized. Authorize request. What are the requests I am authorizing? I am telling that ent method. Okay, and anything like this empty thing is this dot permit also. If I just gave localhost 8004, so 9004, it will permit, but apart from that dot any request, dot authenticated. So I'm telling that if you give localhost 9004 and if you want to display some home page, this is not there in our case, it will display this page. Basically user will get a landing page. But from there, if you want to access anything, any other API, it must be authenticated, and I am telling that. And how to be authenticated is Auth2 login, and because I'm telling that and then I am return HTTP security dot build. Okay, so basically here I am telling that HTTP security, you authorize any request which are just home page, say localhost 9004, and if you want to display some home page, that will be allowed. Apart from that, any other request should be authenticated, and it should be authenticated with Auth2 login, and because of that it will redirect to the Google to do the authentications. And that I know been HTTP security found filter chain HTTP security. me see what is this. I don't think it's a major, it's a compilation minor issue, IntelliJ issue. Let me see this one. It should build successfully. Yes. Let me run this application now. Yes, service. You can ignore this. Is I think IntelliJ is showing temporary issue. Now let's see the application. We go to Ignito and balance. See, we have been redirected to the Google login page. So let me use my another account. See, hopefully I remember my password correctly, and I need to tap it. Okay, yes, I have been authenticated, and now see this one. Hello Amit Datta, your balance is 1000 rupees. So in your case, you may not get this one, and you may get this message that sorry, no customer found with your data. So in your Google account, whatever your name, this name you add here, then it will show that hey, you have this much of balance. So this is how it will work. Let me run it in debug mode again and show you. I'm running it in debug mode, and you can see what are the things coming in the principle. I set a breakpoint here. Let me take a new Ignito window and 900. If I give 9004, you see it will not ask for anything. But here if you give balance, we are redirecting. So I just take this one, and you see I get the principles, and within this principle we have lots of things. Within this many attributes, out of this one attribute will be my say email ID. See, one attribute is the name, and this is the name we picked up, and this name it is showed here. So basically this is how we need to work. So here you can do lots of things. You can check into the database whether for this user any account is there, otherwise will tell no account find and all. But we are not focusing much on this side. Our just focus is how we can secure a microservice endpoint with Auth2, Spring Security and Google Authentication. So this is how you can secure your microservice. So let's recap it quickly. First, we go and to in our POM, and we need to add to dependency or to client. That's the main thing. Starter, web and all are fine. By this time you know that this is the main dependency we need to add. Welcome controller, it is a normal controller. Only thing is that we need to give authentication principle Auth2 principle, and from this principle we'll get all the attribute that we need. And where from this attribute will come, who will decide this attribute? This attribute, if you can see the Google consent, edit, and here we give the scope. Let's go to the next, and we see this add remove scope. We selected the what we selected the open ID, and since we selected the open ID, we will get through this all this attribute. And oops. Now we did all these things here. Simple logic. We'll create a web security. This will filter. Remember, this is a bin. Ignore this one. This is I think IntelliJ temporary issues. It will go because the application is deployed and running properly. So here we will tell that what are the authorized requests. Anything with up to the server name localhost 9004 or something we permit. Any other request must be authenticated, and it should be Auth2 login. So this is what we are telling. Now in the application.yml we did Spring, Auth2, client and Google, and client ID and client secret. Now how we get the client ID and client secret? we go here, we log into console.developers.google.com, and here we create a new project. Then we go to authorization consent, we keep this consent, select all those things, come to the credentials, and we tell create credentials, and we get the credentials. And all this is confidential, so please keep it secret, don't share it anyone. Anyway, by the time if the video will be live, I shall delete this one, so because of that I'm showing it here. And you put it this, that's it. Now once you start your application, so anybody who wants to access, any actor who wants to access this our application, let me show it through a dotted line. So anybody wants to access our application, first our application will redirect them through Google Auth2 server, and this redirection is happened because of this, and because of this. Our user will be redirected here, they will get the Google authentication screen, and from there they will come here and can access our application. So this is how you can secure your Spring Boot application endpoint or microservice with Oauth2 and Google authentication. So that's for today. Next I'll show you how we can do it in Facebook, and after that, till now we are using our Google Auth and all. We'll create our own Auth server, or we'll use Azure Identity Manager to do this one and all. So we'll do lots of things are coming up very soon. So if you like this video and it helps you, please like, share and subscribe, and thank you, and see you in the next video.